Did you know that in 1928, as cities across the world struggled with overcrowding, disease, and pollution, a group of architects gathered in Switzerland to reshape the future of urban life? They called themselves CIAM, the Congrès International d'Architecture Moderne. Their mission was urgent: to use architecture and planning to create a healthier, fairer, and more modern world. By the early 20th century, industrialization had transformed cities into overcrowded, polluted landscapes. Housing was poor. Streets were chaotic. And life expectancy was low. CIAM's core founders, Le Corbusier, Siegfried Giedion, Helen de Mandrot, and Karl Moser, believed design could solve these problems. At their congress, CIAM promoted functionalism, the idea that buildings and cities should be organized around human needs. Their most famous legacy was the Athens Charter of 1931. It proposed that every city should have 4 essential zones: living, habitation, designated residential areas, often in high-rise buildings, to ensure adequate light, air, and space; work, labor, industrial and commercial zones strategically located to minimize travel time and integrate with transportation networks; recreation, green spaces and leisure areas interspersed within the urban fabric to promote well-being; circulation, efficient transportation systems, including roads and public transit, to facilitate movement between zones. This radical promised light, air, and order. After World War II, Europe faced a desperate housing crisis. Entire cities had been bombed, populations displaced, and governments turned to modernist planning for quick, efficient solutions. CIAM's functionalist principles inspired massive rebuilding efforts. From Berlin to London, vast housing estates appeared, with high-rise towers surrounded by wide courtyards of grass and concrete. But the reality was more complicated. While these estates promised fresh air, light, and order, critics like Gossel and Leuthauser note that many designs ignored the fabric of community life. By the 1950s, even CIAM's younger members were questioning the movement's direction. The group known as Team 10, including architects Allison and Peter Smithson, Jacob Bakemer, and Aldo van Eyck, argued that human beings needed connection, identity, and adaptability, not just efficiency. They rejected rigid zoning schemes in favor of more flexible, neighborhood-based planning. This generational split marked the beginning of CIAM's decline, as modernism itself began to face public and professional backlash. CIAM officially dissolved in 1956, but its influence is everywhere. From the skylines of New York to the planned capitals of Brasilia and Chandigarh, traces of their dream of a modern city remain. As Anne Massey reminds us in The Modern Movement, CIAM's legacy wasn't just concrete and glass, it was a belief that design could change the way we live. Love or hate it, CIAM shaped the 20th century city. For more information, look at the following sources.